So, welcome to this Zoom where we talk about becoming a blessed partner church with the goal of building a wall of prayer around our children, our neighborhoods, and our schools. And I know even last week with all of the upheaval in our city, with the shooting with Ralph Earl and with the big fight at Winnetonka High School, like we're just in this real state of unrest, and it's a lot of factors that come together. But as grievous as that is, I also feel like God's given us opportunity to be the ones that make a difference. We don't have to be the victims here. We actually feel like God has given us spiritual authority to be able to pray into our neighborhoods and around our schools and for our kids and see the climate change. And it needs a change, right? So this is grievous to everybody. And my feeling when we started this effort was that if pastors would mobilize the people in their church to live on mission every day where they live, learn, work, and play, that we have the best chance to be able to see our influence affect the culture. And one of the ways to do that is for them to be a light. There's multiple ways, so this isn't the only way, but it's one way that's easy to scale, and technology can help us take the message further and then provide a daily reminder to pray for our neighborhood and our schools. And that part is the difference. I think that a lot of people would say, I've taught my congregation to be good Samaritans, to love their neighbors, and we do that all the time. And I don't doubt that at all. But the sustainability of receiving a reminder every day with 5 neighbor names for which to pray, and the technology to be able to know the names of your neighbors and to pray for your closest schools, I think takes that innate desire further. And so that's why we've settled on this particular effort. So I want to jump into a couple of things here. I'll kind of go through them, and you feel free to ask questions at any time. It's not an interruption. So even if I'm sharing about something, just interrupt me mid-sentence and it's fine. I wanted to share with you first a place to find the effort kind of spelled out. So Stephen, if you're sharing this with your congregation and you want to have more detail, you can go up here to lovekc.net/children. You're seeing build a wall of prayer around our children in schools that's the URL that's officially there. But if you just type lovekc.net/children, then you'll be able to come right to this place, and you could have all the detail you would need to share with people in your congregation. So it kind of explains several different things here in the same article. And that was the purpose, to have this kind of be one source of truth. So I'm going to drop it over here, or maybe Jade, can you just drop in the chat, lovekc.net/children. And so in this, you're going to find several things. I'll highlight them, and then we don't have to spend a lot of time on them because you know where they are. But this is if you go here, you'll see a YouTube video message. I'm not going to play it, but it's there. And it's only 1 minute long. So the whole idea was just to help us to be motivated to want to do something. So I'll go back here to this. And if you went to every home, you see this. Stephen, have you been to Bless Every Home before? Okay, so you're familiar. This shows you several things. These are the top number is a total number of prayers that are being prayed across the country. So across the country, there's 104,000 plus lights who've prayed, this many million prayers, which is super impressive. People are praying, as we're talking, but 38 million, that is a lot. 2 million adopted homes. And then in Kansas City, our number is, the last number I got from Chris Cooper, the founder, was 3,703 lights in Kansas City. So that's how many neighborhoods are adopted if people are actually continuing to pray. So that's significant. That represents there's 17,000 neighborhoods in our city. So we're less than 20%, which is double any other city in the United States, but still means 80% of our neighborhoods don't have someone who is praying, prayer walking, adopting their school, et cetera. Yeah, my heart longs to see every school adopted at a minimum. If we're just looking for minimums, it would be that every school adopted. There's 850 schools in our city. If I was a pastor, I would be saying, let's each one of us adopt our neighborhood and the closest school, and then prayer walk them at least once a month, but pray every day as much as possible. If a person's going to sign up to be a light, then they can watch this video. And this is a good video that a pastor could use inside of a church service. So we're going to watch it together here.
Warriors, Lord, who will fight on their knees.
We can use the technology of today and use it as a harvest tool to reach souls for Christ.
And now we have this incredible tool, blesseveryhome.com.
We're taking the latest consumer data and merging it with current mapping technology
to pray for every single person in our community by name. Sign up free at blesseveryhome.com. and you'll receive a map and list of your neighbors along with the tools to pray for them by name, care for, and share the gospel with them.
The ease of use and convenience has literally taken away every excuse that we could possibly come up with for why we can't engage the Lord on our neighbor's behalf.
There's also the ability to print out a list of names if you don't even have a computer.
You can even highlight your pray, care, share journey with each neighbor home using the colored icon. Red means you are praying for that home. Yellow shows you know each other by name and you are caring for them. Choose green when you are actively sharing the gospel. Make the home blue when those neighbors are active disciples of Christ. Each neighbor home has its own journal. You can also choose to receive scheduled reminder emails with the next 5 neighbor homes to pray for that day. Your members will see their neighborhood in a whole new light.
What are we waiting on? The harvest is now.
Our prayer is that every single home in America is being prayed for by name.
You'll never reach any more people than you pray for.
If every believer would get behind Bless Every Home, we could see a revival in America beyond all we could hope, think, or imagine. Join Bless Every Home and see how prayer can change your community.
Raise up a generation, Lord, that will take light into this world, that they will proclaim that there is salvation in the name of Jesus Christ. Raise them up, Lord, raise them up.
So I'm curious, what are your thoughts as you see that? Just how does that hit your heart?
Yeah, it seems like a great tool. Could have a great impact.
Yeah. Anybody else?
Oh, it makes me smile. So I guess it gives me a lot of hope.
So Jane, tell a little bit about your experience praying in Gardner there.
Okay. So yeah, I've been praying for my neighbors for about 5 years, and first I didn't know hardly any of my neighbors by name, and now I know all my neighbors that are pretty close around, and even some that are just a little bit further away. And yeah, Mark and I just started reaching out, especially during COVID. We'd just go by and just check on people and say, hey, I just want to know how you're doing, make sure you're doing okay, and stuff like that. And sometimes we'd just take little gifts by, just little cookies or something. But eventually, our cul-de-sac has gotten really close. We pray for people when they move out and then people when they move in. But our cul-de-sac, everybody knows everybody. So just last Friday night, we had a little cookout gathering in the cul-de-sac. And what I love about that is it provides an easy opportunity to have spiritual conversations. And we can just check in with people, see how they're doing, and then just give them a piece of the Lord's love and hope and light.
Yeah, that's great, Jane. One of the things I like so much about Bless Every Home is, and I don't mean that you're average, so don't take it this way. The average Christian can impact their neighbors with just simply kindness and hospitality. And I think that some of them are unsure if they know what to say if they were asked to tell the gospel, but they can start with loving and kindness. And by the time that God gives them an opportunity to share the gospel, he'll probably have built enough relationship, the words will come pretty easily. So we at Love KC come alongside churches to provide a lot of other support to learn how to pray, care, share. But we typically see that when a person starts praying, that within about 2 weeks, they're going to have an opportunity to care. And usually the caring will often lead to someone asking why. So it does mobilize a congregation. And when a whole congregation is doing that, or a significant subset of it, then it raises the missional temperature, spiritual temperature inside of the congregation. And one of the things that I encourage the pastors with is that there isn't more for a pastor to do. You don't have to handhold. They can sign up. Everything they need is on the site. And there's tutorials and there's lots of helps that are provided there. And, if a pastor will just check in on their team or their congregation regularly and see how they're doing, they'll hear stories and that will inspire others. So it's very much a catalytic effect, and it's a multiplying effect. There's not a lot of big administrative work to do. We are going to keep track at Love KC of the schools that are adopted. We know that presently 314 of the schools have a light already in their school district. But we'll be working to keep a list. Eventually, we'll have a list of lights where all the schools that are adopted you can see them like you see a light. So I'm going to go back to the note I was reading before now. But I'm very glad to answer any questions, or if you have thoughts, I'm glad to hear them right here. So we clicked on Bless Every Home. I'm just sliding down this list. If you do have people that signed up, we really would like them to go here, because if they will sign up on our website and share their name and their email, then we'll be able to communicate with them to support them as they walk out their prayer, care, share journey. And we can also update churches, because we'll have a link of communication. If you sign up on the Bless Every Home site, because of privacy laws, we don't have access to that. But if you start on our site and you hit submit, you end up on their site. So start people here, and then we'll be able to communicate with them, and then they can go back to Bless Every Home on a daily basis. There are already some other ministries in town that are doing things this month coming up. Caring for Kids, Pray KC, Claim Your Campus, all have efforts. All America, all have efforts going where we'll actually be just running parallel with them. Our part of it is the sustainability, because like Olivia with Claim Your Campus, she's organizing 10 walks for the Saturday after the National Day of Prayer. So they'll prayer walk with, she's hoping, large groups of people on that Saturday. But the people who signed up under Bless Every Home and with this Bless Partner Church effort receive the reminder every day, which I think is very significant in terms of sustainability. So I'll slide on down here to the end of that. And then I want to ask you again if there's other questions, because I'd like to take you to, if I find the right link here, I'd like to take you to the site of what it looks like when you become a Blessed Partner Church. But any other questions before I go to that? Look how many prayers were prayed while we were gone. It's pretty encouraging. If I don't hear any more, if you slide down to the bottom of that page, you can see the Bless Every Home Partner that we're talking about. So I'm going to click that. It's right there, easy to find. And it talks about the best place to start and gives each church a place to sign up. So the sign up cost is $216 annually, or $20 a month. Love KC is offering to pay a scholarship for any church that might have a financial burden of meeting that. That's how significant we think this effort is. We don't want money to stand in the way. So we call it free if it needs to be. There's also a value in a church having skin in the game, and a church does need to put their credit card in, but will not be charged until they would give permission for that. So we can help that get started if that's a problem. But we just think that if our churches across the city would do this together, we actually could pray for every church, every school, every neighborhood in our city, which would be awesome. When you go to the sign up, it just takes you right here. It's easy to create your account, and then you sign in. But let me show you a short video here about what it looks like to be a blessed partner. This is actually about 4 minutes long, so it'll take a little bit of time for us to see it, but I think it explains the process well.
Our world is so deeply broken. Racial division, economic problem.
Oh, I hate the wheel of death.
Immorality issues. Our nation desperately needs revival, and that always begins in united prayer. What's important is for us to join God in what he is doing. And right now, clearly, he is calling his church back to prayer.
Prayers, Lord, who will fight on their knees.
What God wants to do, I believe, in the church must begin in prayer.
If we indeed want to pray for everyone in our community and our city, it's going to have to be a joint effort with every church in our community.
The ways we have been doing things are going to be transformed. We can use the technology of today and use it as a harvest tool to reach souls for Christ.
And now we have this incredible tool.
So you see some of this is used from the other one. But
We're
they
taking the
actually
latest
have two
consumer
different
data,
videos.
merging it with current mapping technology to create an easy tool.
One of the biggest challenges for any pastor is to get their members to pray for, meet, and invite their neighbors to church. Watch how blesseveryhome.com encourages and supports your members to live a pray, care, share lifestyle. They see a personalized neighborhood map where they can highlight their spiritual journey with each neighbor home. All neighbor homes begin as gray to show no activity. Red means your members are praying for that home. Yellow shows they know them and can call them by name. Your members choose green when they are actively sharing the gospel. They change a home to blue when those neighbors are active disciples of Christ. Each neighbor home has its own journal. They can also choose to receive scheduled reminder emails with the next 5 neighbor homes to pray for that day. Your members will see their neighborhood in a whole new light. Bless Every Home gives us the potential to pray for every single person in our community by name. When you sign up as a partner church, you receive many benefits, including real-time progress reports and maps showing your members who are mission outposts in their neighborhoods. You can visualize your entire mission field divided into distinct prayer walkable neighborhoods, which track the cumulative progress from all partner churches towards the goal of every home in your mission field being adopted. You can help sign up your members who don't use computers and give them printed prayer lists, and your members can easily adjust which homes are assigned to them. You can upgrade to become a new mover church so you can identify and connect with your new neighbors who have just moved in from outside your area. You can also upgrade to the online community connector, a full-featured outreach toolbox that enables your church leadership to create custom maps that show your church member homes, identify your neighbor homes by culture, circumstances, and needs, track custom projects such as gospel outreach, and much more.
This particular program in ministry is absolutely the best I have ever seen. And I've been in the pastor over 50 years.
Nothing else that I have ever run into in over 22 years of pastoral ministry can compare to the impact on my congregation.
It's infectious because gospel stories begin to happen.
I thought this is an incredible opportunity for us for such a time as this.
BlessEveryHome.com
Takes us from a battle plan to those wonderful words, mission accomplished.
What are we waiting on? Jesus says, lift your eyes and see the harvest field that is right before you. Pray that the Lord of the harvest will send forth laborers into the harvest field. The harvest is now. We need to be looking around and redeeming the time that God has given us to reach the people around us for Christ.
Lord, call us to battle. I pray for unity among those that love you. Raise up more that will call upon your name. Raise up a generation, Lord, that will take light into this world, that they will proclaim that there is salvation in the name of Jesus Christ. Raise them up, Lord, raise them up.
So you can see in that they incorporated some of the first video into the second. But the reason I wanted you to see that was that they also talked more about the partner church part of this. So when a person becomes a partner church, there's several assets they get. One is a pastor can see all of the activity of their lights because they have a unique URL to sign up their people. So a pastor in the email or in a Sunday or whatever ways you want to do it with QR code or a link, you say sign up to be a light underneath our church. And then the pastor can see all of the activity of their lights. They know which neighborhoods are adopted. They know which schools are adopted. If they wanted to, they could go in and see who's actually active and who is not. So that's one benefit. I think that's very helpful, especially if there's a person in the church who can kind of be a mobilizer to, it's more than what the pastor probably wants to do with their time, but someone can do that to help be a mobilizer and just encourage the people. Also collect stories because you're going to get some great stories. The other part of that that's a huge benefit is you get a 36-page detailed report that's 14 fields of information about your mission field. So for a 5-mile radius around your church, you get the report that you are seeing there. So it tells you about the people who live around your church. I used to pay $1,000 a year for this kind of report when I was at Indian Creek, and it was by zip codes, not by household, and it was annually based on the census. It wasn't updated every 6 weeks like this is. So I attend Westside. They use this all the time at Westside, and it helps to inform choices they're making about programming and outreaches and a variety of other things. So that comes free with the Blessed Partner sign up. So I think that would be enough in my own opinion for $216 annually. But again, it's free if it needs to be through Love KC. So to get started, a person would just go to this. I'm going to drop this in here. It's just the website would be blesseveryhome.com/church. And a person could get started by signing up there. And if a pastor does that, then I would love to know so we can come alongside them and help onboard them with their leaders. So Love KC will do an individual follow-up with any church that wants it to help the program be familiar and then to tell stories and encourage your people to do this. If you're wondering, well, how many people have done this? There's 43 Blessed Partner churches in Kansas City right now. And I already said there was 3,703 lights. So there is a lot of adoption already. It's just maybe new to some of us, but we want it to be available to everybody. And it'll take that to reach our city for adopting every school. So we're almost at the bottom of the hour. I promised you half an hour. I'm glad to stay on as long as anybody wants and talk about these things and answer more questions. But is there anything top of your head before we get to the 30-minute mark?
With the, am I unmuted? Okay, I'm unmuted.
We can hear you.
Yeah. With the neighborhood reports thing you're talking about,
right?
I'm already a light, like personally in Bless Every Home and have been for a few years. But I think, and actually at one point I was in a church partnership account through PV, Pleasant Valley Baptist Church.
Jerry Connor.
Yes. Yeah. I just met with him this morning, actually.
Right. Yeah. Super good.
But what I recall is I think I tried to set myself up as a church partner under PV at some point. And the login stuff got weird. I couldn't look at both things or something. And so right now I'm trying to, I'm trying to set River Park up as its own thing as a church. Yeah. Right. But it says I'm logged in as Stephen Daniel under my personal Gmail. So I guess I need to log out of that.
It's the old one probably.
Yeah. So it's just kind of the logistics question is one thing. And then secondarily, we're trying to maybe explore some multiple campus things where we're trying to get very localized and reach specific pockets of neighborhoods. So so can I get reports for a place we're wanting to start something?
Yes is the answer. So if you're a multi-site church, what I would recommend is you sign up just one time as a partner church, and then that we run, and I'll be glad to help you with these things. First of all, it's easy to solve the problem you have but your browser is remembering the old. So we can figure that out. But you want to be your own church, not under, a different association. And then, yes, we can run reports that are, we'll have to have Chris's help to run custom reports, but you can see 5 miles from where your present church is without anything custom. But we can help you with custom reports. If you wanted to do it on an ongoing basis, that's where you'd need to be an association. And there is a cost. There's an up cost for that.
Okay.
Yeah, a charge for that. But that's what Westside has done. So Westside's taken this to a really cool level. They have area communities for the 9 schools that are right around their church. They hope to make it 13 before they're done, but they have 9 right now. And they've done these detailed reports on all 9 of those. They know where their members live, and inside of that, by merging their CSV file for their church up into Bless Every Home, there's a firewall between your data, so your data doesn't ever become Bless Every Home's data. You get to keep all of it. And all of the data that you see is de-identified, which is important to know because people wonder if their privacy is being, if something's wrong here. And there's not, because the information is right, but the names are separated from it. So you can see the data without it being, it's de-identified is what it's called.
So if I upload our people into Bless Every Home, I can look and it'll have dots on the addresses, but it won't have their names.
No, you will see your data because it's yours. You'll see their names. Yeah. You'll know where the lights are. You'll know where your people live. You'll see the school districts because they're already on the map.
Okay.
And it's a huge start, in this kind of project that we're talking about. And I'm glad to help you with all of that. Get you up and get you going.
Okay.
Sounds like a lot, but actually it wouldn't. We could do it in half an hour to an hour, and you'd be up and going.
Okay.
I helped Westside with them. It was a lot of fun.
Okay.
It's so cool just to see it from a different point of view. And then you have the opportunity that they did where they actually have their community groups meeting, region groups, they call them. They have their regional meetings once a month. People come together and they talk about a variety of things, like what does hospitality look like in our region, or what is, how do we offer spiritual formation opportunities inside of the region? Who's doing Alpha? Because they use Alpha. There's a lot of different things you can do with that help people live on mission, which I think is really the whole idea. If I was to circle back at the end to where I started, I think where I see people really grow in today's world is when they think about the church being outside the walls. They are the church wherever they go. And if they begin to discover their spiritual gifts and understand how God can use them as a neighbor, then they begin to realize they're empowered. They have what they need from the Holy Spirit. Their church is a catalyst and sending them, and they just start to have conversations with people, which, we know that people don't come to a church anymore unless they come on the arm of a friend. They might visit on our website and like it and come, but there's a lot of competition for that. But people will still come on the arm of a friend. And when we become the bridge to the culture, to our neighbors, then I think that's where exciting things really happen. So we want that for the pastors and churches of our city. And I believe we can make a difference with the violence. I really believe a person praying in their neighborhood and around their schools. I would give my wife's not got her camera on, but she gets out even in the cold weather and walks around our grade school and prays for the administrators, prays for the principals, prays for the teachers, prays for the kids. And I just honestly think every Christian could do that. So that's what we're encouraging. I'm going to drop my name in the chat here. I don't know if you have my email, Stephen, but I'll put it here. And then if anybody wants to contact me, I'd be glad to do the steps and walk you through. If you put your credit card information, you get 2 months free. So you won't be charged for 2 months, and you won't be charged at all until you give permission to be charged. And then if finances becomes a project, we've already have 5 gifts for 5 churches, which is cool. I'm hoping to raise money for a lot more than that, but it's there if people need it. All right. Anything else? Hey, thanks for leaning in today. And let's keep telling this story because we need our whole city to be involved. But thank you for your time today.